Okay, welcome friends. In this video, we're going to learn how to work with computed columns. All right, first of all, let me make the view here bigger. But before we do that, right-click on the table name in Object Explorer and go to Design Mode. And remember, we set this field here to be primary, a primary key. I'm going to remove that for a second. But before I do that, expand the indexes folder. And notice, remember, we had this pk_table_1 clustered. That was our index. Where did that come from? We didn't make that. It was made automatically. Take a look. So remove the primary key setting on the ID field. Right-click on it and then remove primary key. And make sure you save that. So hit the little save button there. And now reload the folder here. You can right-click on table name and then refresh. And notice the indexes folder is empty now. So when you set the primary key by right-clicking and setting the primary key on a field, you're adding the index. So now take a look. Save this. All right. And then reload the indexes folder, for example. Right-click, refresh. And inside it, now you have the primary key index. You see that? pk_table1. So it's indexed by the primary key. All right. I wanted to point that out. Let me close this. Okay. Let's go back to talking about aliasing. So now we're going to be talking about aliasing computed columns. And this is useful because sometimes you have data and it doesn't show all the information that you want it to show. So you may have to make calculations on it. Let's begin here. Not sue, but use. My dbase. Go. And I'm going to go here with select star. Let's do it this way. Name. Remember that was part of our table. I'm going to alias this as the first name here. I'm going to separate these out vertically so they fit nicely. Then I'm going to say here title as employee title. Next stage, I'm going to say the following. Money earned as salary. Make sure you close with a single quote. Those have to be matched. Everything in programming in general has to be matched. Opening and closing single quotes. Opening and closing square brackets. Opening and closing curly braces. Always in pairs. All right, so money earned as salary. And remember, this one doesn't have to be because it's just one word, salary. That's it. So you don't need single quotes. Next stage here. And next, we are going to start computing things. But before I do that, let's choose the table. So from table_1. This we have seen before, nothing new. All right, let me remove that comma. Remember, these that you separate, the first fields, separated with commas. The one that comes before the from clause, no comma at the end of it. All right, let's run this. Go ahead, execute. And that looks like this. Perfect. Now, what are the things of interest when you talk about salaries? Obviously, for example, maybe the amount of money you take home after taxes and perhaps the amount of money you pay in tax, correct? Those are the things that might interest us. So how can we find those? They're not present in the data, so we have to add them at least to our grids result. So to do that, we are going to work with computed columns. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to put a square bracket. I'm going to say money earned. So money earned. And to find the tax on a quantity, for example, assuming you live in America, it's roughly 33%. That amounts, when you make a computation, to multiplying by 0.33. This here is the multiplication symbol, the star, okay, or the asterisk. Now, if you run the code this way, take a look. It does add this new column, but notice that it doesn't have a name. It's just given the default of no column name, which is not very insightful. Okay, let's alias this. So we're going to alias this now by writing as, for example, tax amount. All right, so we're taking 33% of the money earned. We're calling that the tax amount to be paid. All right, so run it again, execute tax amount. Now it looks the way it's supposed to. You've got a new piece of information. All right, let's do this one more time. And again, at this point, you may want to pause the video and try it before I show you. Money earned times 0.66 will tell you how much you're taking home. You may want to pause the video, try it on your own. All right, let's take a look at my solution. So I'm going to say money earned, and then I'm going to say star and then 0.66 as take home pay. All right, take a look. So select and execute. Now we've got a new column. Now notice that these salary value and the tax amount and the take home pay, they would obviously have to be formatted so they look better like currency, right? Right now they don't look very much like currency. That's something different. All right, so we've done all of this. And what else can we do with this? We can perform all the stuff that we've done before. So remember, the salary here is an alias for money earned, and tax amount is an alias for this quantity. The money earned times 0.33. You're computing a fraction of something. Take home pay, again, you're taking the money earned for each record, you're multiplying by 0.66. Remember that this is done on a per record basis, correct? So make sure you understand that. First you do it for John. You take the salary, multiply, get the tax amount. Take the salary again, you multiply, then you get the take home pay, you see? Then you repeat that for every single record, one at a time. All right. Now the next stage in the process, take a look, I'm going to type the following. Of course, we can subset the data if you like. So I'm going to say where. And I want you to tell me, why can I not, for example, type here tax amount? Let's try it, okay? Remember with the reason. See that? It says, I just do it this way, between some specified amounts. So maybe where the tax amount is between some amount, or the take home is between some amount. So some starting value, some stopping value. You want to pick out the ones that fall between them. All right. So I'm going to say take home pay. Say is between, and then specify some values. Say 100,000, like that. All right, and say 200,000, like that. So let's run this. All right, execute that. And again, not very helpful. We're getting an error here. So conversion failed when converting the varchar value take home pay to data type integer. So we're going to delete that. And I'll just go with money earned. So money earned. And you can multiply right here. This is the take home pay portion. So you multiply by 0.66. You can do it this way if you like, you see? All right. Execute. And now it's working. It's picking out the records where the money earned that you're taking home falls within the 100,000 to 200,000 range. You see that right there, you see? All right. And again, as before, you can continue with this process, and now you can sort. So now I'm going to say, for example, order by. And again, I'm going to try to stick in an alias column name. So for example, let's do it this way. I'm going to type here take home pay. Let's see whether that will work for us. All right, run everything. There you go. And it does work because remember the order by runs last. So by then take home pay is available for the order by clause. And this is shown down below. You've got the take home pay and it's ordered from lowest to highest value. And as before, we can type DSC and that will execute from highest to lowest now. All right, so I hope you see the usefulness of, remember you've got data, but you don't have perhaps everything that you might want to know about the data. So then you can use computed columns to find additional information. And computed columns are given default names, for example, like no column name. So the aliasing is very useful. So you see salary, tax amount, and take home pay. It's very clear what each column represents as an example. And as before, you may want to do this as your own exercise at this point. So comment number 2, write down the order of execution. All right, so let's carry that out. Remember, if you need to pause the video, type up the code. So it's the same thing, even though there's more of the code here, roughly speaking, it's still the same thing. So from, then the where to subset the records, get some of them, so we have less data to operate on, it's more efficient. All right, then the select, and lastly, the order by. Okay, friends, that is it for this one. Thanks so much. I'll see you next one.